Liv is overrated, in-ring she's average, promo is decent, but overall gets a pass because she's conventionally attractive. Extremely attractive, you son of a... And let me know down in the comments your wrestling hot takes. It can be current day or in history, and you'll be in the next episode. Dominik Mysterio should be the next Money in the Bank winner. Semi-related, but he should break away from the Judgment Day, whether it's with or without Liv. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm there for that. Like, I'll be honest, Dominik Mysterio is truly one of the greatest transformations of a wrestler of all time. Like, this guy came in, that baby face he had, he was with his dad, he was like kind of fat, he was like, you know, it just wasn't really cooking in 2020, but I could see something in him because he's the son of one of the greatest of all time. But then the second he turned heel at Clash at the Castle 22, yeah, he's been money ever since. So I think it's time for him to be Money in the Bank. In terms of breaking away from the Judgment Day, I think maybe, not yet, but maybe. NXT is better than both Raw and SmackDown. If I'm being entirely honest, NXT is my favorite brand of all time. I love NXT. I've loved every rendition of it, including Game Show. And especially right now, NXT is firing on all cylinders. They continue to sign some of the best names. They continue to give some of the best matches, best moments, best shows, best pay-per-views. I can't argue with that. NXT is elite, and it maybe always will be. Especially considering the fact that a lot of people dropped off when it became NXT 2.0, and then all of a sudden, like, they started nailing the shit out of NXT 2.0, and people were like, oh, once you get past the ugly paint splatter, this is kinda cool. I also sometimes go ahead and ask for hot takes on my community tab on YouTube, and I also sometimes ask for hot takes on my Instagram, on my Instagram meme page, or even on Twitter, so make sure you're following on all of those. Zack Ryder's Intercontinental title win is the most underrated WrestleMania moment ever. Maybe. The match was fire, him winning was a great idea, and he got to celebrate it with his dad. Barely anyone talks about this moment, but I think it's highly underrated. You know why people don't talk about that moment? Because the slander train on WrestleMania 32 has been going on for way too long. WrestleMania 32 was not a bad WrestleMania. And I would even go as far to say WrestleMania 27 is not a bad WrestleMania. This guy stinks! Yeah, it's still too early to be saying that. Listen though, when it comes to WrestleMania 32, sure it was a little bit long, sure Roman Reigns winning, it wasn't really the popular thing at the time. Zack Ryder winning the IC title is a moment that I wish would have lasted longer. Like, they could have let my brother hold that title for at least a week, at least a month, you know? Ludwig Kaiser is in the conversation of best wrestler of the year as he has a great character and is unbelievable in the ring. Yes, I'm there for that one. So far, a lot of these hot takes I'm just agreeing with. I'm sorry, what can I say? But with that being said, you're absolutely right. I mean, maybe not wrestler of the year, maybe he's not number one, but in terms of being one of the great standouts of the year, yeah. Ricochet is very overrated, and to me isn't even that good. I've always hated him. Damn. I mean, I wouldn't say overrated. I'd say on the mic he's unfortunate. But in terms of in-ring, like, he's rated as he should be. He's one of the best at what he does, and he's incredible in-ring, you know? I just wish he'd put one of these down sometimes and just, you know, stop. Although, as I said in that AEW video the other day, he is kind of warming to me as a heel, you know? He's kind of like that right level of annoying where I'm kind of like, I respect what you're doing with a little Jacob Fatu, if booked well, can be the next Roman Reigns. You know what? I don't like putting too many people in that hole. They're going to be the next version of this. They're going to be the next version of that. I want him to be the first Jacob Fatu. But I see what you mean. Both AEW and WWE are great right now. Yes. I'd agree with that. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes when it comes to WWE, it's like there's so many shows being thrown at you. Sometimes I just got to take some time off and just be like, I'm not watching Raw or SmackDown this week. NXT, mi amor. But yeah, after watching World's End the other day, I think both products are in a really strong point heading into 2025. If Scripps/Reggie was booked well, he'd be in the running as one of the best high-flying wrestlers in the world. Yeah, honestly, Reggie, yeah, he got done dirty, I'll be honest. Reggie and Scripps were not great characters, but he's very talented. WWE needs to add time limits to their matches and show the contestants record like AEW. I feel like the time limit could add a little substance to rival. Yeah. No, actually, I disagree. I'll be honest, like, AEW sometimes does the time limit thing really well, but then sometimes it gets to a predictable spot where you're like you'll hear Justin Roberts being like, 1 minute remaining, and you're like, oh, this is gonna end in a draw, great. But the first couple times AEW did it, and it was with like Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, and you know, that era of AEW, I thought they did it really well, so I could see WWE doing that. It'd be fresh for them to do. If WWE deleted any tag title, we wouldn't miss them. Ooh. I'll be honest, you're not wrong. There is a lot of titles right now. Like, I don't know, maybe you don't need multiple tag divisions across the big 3 shows. Seth Rollins' drip god gimmick has run its course. It was fun at first, but it's getting old. He needs to go back to a heel version of the Architect, and I think that's where they are going with the Punk storyline. Ooh, okay. I'm actually gonna disagree with you here. I'm gonna disagree. I really like the drip god gimmick, and I don't think it's run its course yet, but I see what you mean. It has been like a few years. I honestly think either he goes back to the Architect, or alternatively, bring back the Messiah. The Messiah Seth Rollins did not last for long enough, and that theme was awesome. Not every underrated / hyped wrestler, in your opinion, deserved a world title run. In the past few years, I've seen a rise in fans of wrestlers with great mic work or promos or ring work, or all three, saying they need or needed a world title run, but I disagree. I'm sure they're talented, but not everyone deserves a title run. Yeah, someone that instantly springs to mind with this conversation is Cesaro. In hindsight, I don't think Cesaro really needed a world title run to be who he is now, but I can see like back in 2014 when he was with Paul Heyman, it was like, this guy needs to be WWE champion yesterday. So, or even a guy like Zack Ryder was another guy like, we need this guy as WWE champion. So, you know, I can see it in both ways. But also with that being said, now that I'm thinking about hyped wrestlers, Ryback was pretty hyped at one point, and look what happened to him. So imagine they made Ryback a WWE champion in 2012. Jesus Christ, no. Roman's run as the big dog was actually good and underrated. He put on some classics with AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar, just to name a few. People only remember him being put over a lot, but they don't talk about the quality of his matches, which were usually top tier. And then Malcolm Bowen 6 also goes out and weighs in and says his feud with Braun Strowman was underrated. You're spitting. But also, I gotta say, yeah, this is the difficult thing with big dog Roman Reigns. It wasn't all bad, but it's also a thing of like those matches with AJ Styles and Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar would happen like every once in a blue moon. Like Seth and AJ were in the same summer, fair enough. 2016 WWE, I made a video on that recently. It's an unreal time. In terms of Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 31 match cooked. I'm sure there was another one in there that cooked as well that I'm forgetting. The Braun Strowman stuff was absolutely fantastic. It made Roman seem human instead of being overpowered all the time. So yeah, some of it was underrated, you're right. Hot take, TNA was better than WWE during the PG era in my opinion. Aces and Eights will forever be one of my favorite storylines of all time. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with that take. And honestly, having watched a little bit of TNA at my cousin's house during that time, and you know, I generally know some things about that era, like the Hogan and Bischoff stuff, and Kurt Angle being Kurt Angle, and Jeff Hardy going there, and RVD, and Bobby Roode, and AJ Styles, and Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe, and you know, all these people. Don't get me wrong, a good time, but better than the PG era if we're talking like PG all the way up until like, what, like 2013 when it ended, when it went into the reality era, or 2014. I'm just not entirely sure I agree with that. I think 2011 had CM Punk, so that was very strong, and I think 2011 is underrated anyway. I think you look at like 2008, 2009, you got Randy Orton and Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels at the end of his run, and The Undertaker and Batista and Cena. So I'm gonna disagree with that one. Bron Breakker is the only champion on the main roster. No. NXT Black and Gold was just Triple H being groomed for top spot because those NDAs had invalidity. Invalidity dates, and someone, I can't believe, I don't know what. Breaking news, guys, Deonte DJ is having another stroke. It's okay, I can make that joke. I had In a way, Vince McMahon stepping down was Triple H's call up to main roster. John Cena should not win the IC championship at all. Worst idea I've heard. Damn. Love your vids, Deonte. Watched since the AEW Universe mode and Dante Inferno days. Hey, T-Plays, salute. Shout out to you. But in terms of your hot take, John Cena should not win the IC championship at all. I think he has to, unfortunately. I think he has to. Like, do I want him to beat Bron Breakker? No. Is that gonna happen? Maybe. AEW are consistently producing great matches and decent storylines. The hate they get is unnecessary. I agree to an extent. As someone that could be argued as an AEW hater, I know some of you probably see it like that when I even remotely criticize them and I'm like, well, they're not doing good here, but they're doing good here. I know some of you only hear the criticism, and that I get it. But with that being said, when it comes to AEW, I really do think they have turned it around in the last couple of months, and I do think 2025 is going to be a good year, especially considering their roster is absolutely ridiculous. ridiculous. Like, they have some of the best wrestlers of all time just casually wrestling on Dynamite. Like, it's insane. I'm excited for what they do next year. Both Kevin Owens and Finn Balor should be world champions at some point in 2025. Ooh. Finn Balor beating John Cena for the World Heavyweight Championship. I also think Omos will join AEW and immediately insert himself into the Hurt Syndicate with Bobby Lashley and MVP. Voice crack again, come on. I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure that Omos is still signed to WWE for like another couple of years, but I like your thinking. I enjoy what the Hurt Syndicate, they're another part of why AEW is slowly turning it around. I've enjoyed what they've been doing so far. Love 2016. I need Finn and Kevin to be back up there, okay? Prime Black and Gold NXT, fanboy, stan. I need Kevin and Owens and Finn Balor to be world champions again. I need to restore the feeling of what they were in Black and Gold. Period. Can we stop saying that AEW has restored the feeling? That's a personal shot at me, isn't it? Come on, guys. AEW World's End 2024 restored the feeling.
Let's fucking go, lads!
I genuinely do feel like the feeling is back with AEW. I genuinely do feel like they have been on the up and up since I've been speaking about, you know, their problems and everything. Again, not saying that I'm responsible for any of that at all whatsoever. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, from where they were, you know, maybe at the start of the year or last year, and where I initially had problems with them, I feel like they've really built on what they've been doing, and they've built on their problems and fixed a lot of things. And I feel like now that the smoke has cleared from the CM Punk aftermath, they're really on the right track heading into 2025. So for me personally, for the AEW that I once loved and you know, loved in 2021, I would say they have restored the feeling for me. But again, I'm just speaking for me. Wrestling shouldn't be treated like sports when it's more entertainment. I agree with that one. Wholeheartedly agree with that one. That probably is a hot take because I know a lot of wrestling fans try and still treat it like it's a sport, like it's real. I'm of the controversial opinion that I treat it like it's a TV show. Like, I'm not necessarily trying to disrespect what professional wrestlers do. I'd never go ahead and say, oh, you guys are just actors, it doesn't hurt, it's fake. Like, I would never say anything like that. But at the same time, I'm not exactly being like I'm not treating it super seriously. Like, sometimes you just gotta understand that this is a TV show and it should be taken like that, and it's not always serious, you know? It doesn't have to be life or death. People should stop treating pro wrestling as if it were a competitive sport like MMA. And see it more as entertainment. Just because your favorite wrestler lost doesn't mean he was automatically buried. That just happened to follow a storyline. It's not an MMA ranking. You are spitting. Braun Breaker's Intercontinental Championship reign is stale and they need to take the title off him. Wrong. Incorrect. Boo! WWE should make more unique PLE stages to make them stand out. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Dominik is the best heel in the modern wrestling world. Depends what you mean by modern wrestling, because Roman Reigns is still there. NXT now is better than Black and Gold NXT. Ooh, you lost me at the end there. You lost me at the end. Disagree. NXT is top tier in WWE. Every division feels lively and loaded, whether it's the mid-card and North American scenes, Javon Evans, Charlie Dempsey, Lexus King, Sol Ruka, Zarya, Ren Sinclair, the tag team division with Fraxium, the GOAT, etc, etc. Everyone feels like stars that could capture gold whenever the story needed them to, and their PLEs always deliver, except for Battleground, which had some mid in there, and Halloween Havoc, which was pretty bad. Damn, okay. Current day NXT though is top tier, wholeheartedly agree with you. Long title reigns are boring and I don't see anyone apart from Punk who can make it interesting. Roman's reign has ended, but it also got very tedious at the end. Disagree with that hot take. I think if you've got a hybrid on your roster where it's sometimes long, sometimes short, sometimes it's middle, like 3 months, I think that's fine. Like, for example, Damian Priest and Bayley, they only held the title for what, like 3-4 months, and that was fine to me. That was perfect. Grayson Waller should eventually be Mr. Money in the Bank, maybe not 2025, but at least by 2027. He is just way too good not to get a big heel singles run. You are damn right. Love Grayson Waller, love the Grayson Waller effect. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, banger theme, by the way. The Shield is overrated is crazy. Gunther's title reign has been really underwhelming and nowhere near as good as his IC title reign. Low-key, you're semi-spig. But maybe that's just because his IC title reign set the bar so high that going into another long reign straight after it was like, obviously comparisons were going to be drawn. And I also think his world title reign will really kick into gear when Ilya Dragunov comes back, because they need to run that. They have to. Shane McMahon would run a better company than Triple H if he was in charge. I disagree. I don't think he would. WWE 2K20 isn't as bad as people made it out to be. Is it still bad? Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, it had a stacked roster, it did, and also had a decent universe mode and introduced 4-slot rivalries, and after several patches, the glitches weren't as provident, and dare I say, 2K24 currently has more issues and glitches in 2K24 con online-wise. Kind of spitting a little bit, although with that being said, I never really played universe mode in 2K20. You know why? Liv Morgan is more entertaining to watch than Becky Lynch ever was. What the hell's with the straight on my goat? Oh, great. Now I've got to choose sides. Do I go with the Liv of my life or my goat? I think I'm going to go with my goat. I'm sorry. I've got to defend Becky Lynch. She's not better than Becky Lynch. She never will be. Sorry. The former WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. He deserves to headline WrestleMania. He's more entertaining than Cody, Gunther, the Bloodline, and the female division combined. What's with the stray on the women? What's going on? Oh, wait, no, hang on a second. I see number 5 here. Deonte DDJ should have more subscribers. You know what? I was wrong about you.